Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hearthstone. So we need one victory between the Druid or Rogue, and we want one victory from the Shaman, and we will get the 3 victories done here. So in our second recording of this session, I think we'll probably get this done. Let's just hop into it and hopefully not run into a huge losing streak. One of the things I've been thinking about, and this is only pretty much trepidation and there's nothing I can really do about it, is I have a GTX 970. It's starting to show that 970 might not be good enough. I bought this video card just a year ago, and my fear is when you start talking about the new games that are gonna start asking for 980s, that the 970 is just gonna not be good. And if I got another 970, which is kind of the plan with the tax, when I do my taxes, and if I get a tax refund, which I should, would be to reinvest that into a second 970. But a lot of video games seem to have some trouble with SLI, so, and I have no idea if the recording software is going to have any trouble with SLI, so that may not really effectively double our power. Now, the problem, of course, is the prices aren't going down enough. Spending $300 on a video card is already an extremely high amount, which is what I think I spent on for the 970. Going up to like $500, $600, $700, $1,000 for a video card are just not in the realm of possibilities, particularly when you consider that the finances for this channel still haven't paid for themselves, not anywhere close. If everything just stays the same by the end of this year in 2016, I'll have earned maybe $57. So
greetings.
So it still needs to grow, and we really haven't seen a burst of growth lately, sadly.
Greetings, friend.
So yeah, I'm hoping for that. I put out my Valentine's video. Again, those videos aren't really anything except for just trying to be nice. But only 2 people looked at it, and I put a poll in it, in the cards, to see if anybody would even see it. And since only 2 people, it only got 2 views, and one of those was probably me. Alright, time to squelch this guy.
Did you bring some fish?
I'm pretty sure nobody saw the poll. I put, "Will you be my Valentine?" as a joke type thing. Yes, no, that's the poll. I don't think polls on YouTube are gonna be a thing, if I was to guess. I don't think cards in general are gonna be a thing on YouTube. It really depends if they ever implement their stupid plan to actually get rid of annotations. And if they really do implement that and annotations really go away, then tons and tons of videos are going to stop working, and I think that's the problem. So they'd have to keep annotations and then say, well, you can't use it on new videos anymore. And if you can't use it on new videos, that sucks. The whole way an intro and outro are going to work at all is with annotations. Somewhat. I saw a video where the annotations were totally messed up and they showed up way too early, which was kind of interesting. So you're just seeing these outlines of squares, and the images under them took like 30 seconds to show up. I will sadly admit that the Fine Brothers convinced me to watch one of their videos after their whole debacle, when they had adults versus food, eating buffalo testicles, and I wanted to see it, and it wasn't entertaining, so I'll probably do the right thing and do the right thing and unsubscribe from them. Like I had said before, I don't watch that many of their videos anyways, but on further evaluation, I'm not sure I ever want to watch any of their future videos too, because they're not that good. This isn't even really a judgment issue, this is more, they're just not that good. They're clickbait in YouTube form. And I sort of noticed I haven't seen any YouTubers react to any of those on their channel, so I wonder if all the YouTuber people disassociated themselves with it, said we can't do business with you anymore just because you've given yourself such a bad name.
There is a lot at stake.
And this. Let's try to keep this guy alive.
Fine, I'll wand.
Trying to get some totems up here so I can play these guys. So yeah, it kind of sucks about the 970 graphics card. I know I bounce around a lot in conversations. I know it's random. It's go back to this conversation, go back to that conversation. It's just bounce and bounce and bounce. Sorry about that.
Enjoy raiding.
That's how my silly mind works.
Do not push me.
Fine, I'll wand.
There we go.
For the war chief.
Plus 3. This would be enough. I don't think it would be. 9 plus that would be 13 plus that would be 18. I need 25. Desperately trying to get rid of my characters.
Greetings from beyond the grave.
Elements I like, totems I love.
Fine, I'll wand.
Next turn, I might be able to Bloodlust.
For the crusade!
My Exna is one of the ones that's going to be banned. I'm surprised to see anybody playing it anymore. In general, though. Used to be a really powerful card when you didn't have all the other cards that were way more powerful. Alright, so they've given up hitting the face. That's exactly what I want. If I play this, I can't play that, so I can do this. That powers up that, and then we can do this.
Totally.
Fine, I'll wand.
I may have won without even using Bloodlust. Actually. So that's 2 quests down. All we need now is a rogue or druid victory. We may go a little short here. So we'll just, I guess, play ranked mode to get up to this. We're almost certainly going to go short because we're only going to do 2 recordings, which is fine because I'm already a little too far ahead. Downfall is about out on Steam, the sequel to The Cat Lady, which I planned on covering The Cat Lady for Halloween.
You asked for it. Watch.
I don't want to spoil all of Halloween, but I guess I might. I might unintentionally or intentionally do that. So that'll be slightly interesting to cover that. Halloween in particular, and the cat lady in particular, are gonna probably take a little bit of editing in one scene, which means I need to get the work done a lot earlier so I can edit it. Same reason why I haven't covered Honey Pop yet, is because it would just be more work. Let's see.
Feed the fish,
To edit things out. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna.
Job done.
I'll probably just. Well, I wish YouTube would just have a blackout section where you could just go put black over the image but leave the audio. I think that would work decently enough. But I want to do this and then this, or this. Let's do this.
and
Here we go.
There we go. As far as I know, no other games have that issue. But some game somewhere is going to trick me at some point. I know it will. I wish I could be done with the Lego games.
Do you have the
general.
artifact?
WB claims
Here we
a lot
go.
of that audio,
Do you have the artifact?
and WB in particular abuses the content ID system like crazy. In fact, WB just lost the major Happy Birthday copyright thing and had to pay back 13 million of the probably 33 million they got, which is the way justice works for big companies, I guess. It doesn't.
Want a deal?
They can keep the profits from illicit games.
Get back! Here we go.
Job done.
People are still very much raging at YouTube, and I think they're just gonna do that non-stop. YouTube is quickly becoming full of videos about how YouTube's content ID system sucks, and they really need to do something. They really actually need to do something, and not just lie and
Here
pretend like
we
they're gonna
go.
do something like they've kind of done.
It's a deal.
The free speech protection program, or whatever it was called, was always only going to protect like 5 videos. And I guess that would have been a decent start, but then the next part of that would have needed to be them including more videos.
I am Rabab, the supreme archaeologist.
Let's see, what do I want? I'm just gonna fill the board with 3 zombies,
Job's done.
I guess, because I think he's gonna end up killing this guy in 2 turns. See, like I said,
Feed the fish, Lover.
Job done.
so So if I could get an attack in the face and then a
I serve the Fire Lord.
what is it called? Blade Fury, that would be nice.
Knowledge is power, and I know a lot.
Mirror of Doom.
Job done.
So he can do 8, 9 damage right now. He'd have to do 7 more. That's 6. Can he do 2 more? Yes, he can. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. Oh well, we'll come over to the druid and try that. Even if we got into a losing streak right about now, it's not going to be a big deal. No new announcements as far as Hearthstone's expansion. I think it's just gonna kind of pop up
Malfurion
once.
versus Rexar.
Once it happens, and we may very well be forced into only buying new things because of that, but that's fine. Insanely, after feeling like Jim Sterling is a drama queen, which I still feel like his persona on YouTube is definitely a drama queen, and I think some of that persona is actually him. I'm still listening to his podcast, and it's all right. I like it. It's dirty jokes more than actual video game content. So I would squarely put listening to that podcast as
Another night
some
on
of the
prowl.
comedy podcasts I listen to, not actual video game review podcasts. I wanted to throw out this idea here. I guess this is the best way I could do it. I thought about writing into the Bombcast with this thought, but why? Why would I write into the Bombcast when I have my own channel? So I was thinking of a really stupid way to grade video games, to rate them from on either a 10-point scale, 100-point scale. The number of points doesn't matter, particularly because that scale is going to change. And what it's going to do is effectively, for a game like that's the beginning of its series, like Assassin's Creed 1, you can rate that anywhere between 0 and 10, so 10-point scale. But for Assassin's Creed 2, now, in comparison to whatever you gave Assassin's Creed 1, say you said it was a 5, it was an average game. Well, in comparison to that, you can now go from anywhere between 0 and 20. So, that means that if you thought it was twice as good as 211 Saplings, or
Bathe in flame.
So Assassin's Creed 2, you could rate anywhere between 0 and 20. So if you said that Assassin's Creed 1 was a 5 and you thought Assassin's Creed 2 was just as good but no better, you would say it was a 5. If you thought it was twice as good, you'd say it was a 10. So there, effectively, you've said because it was twice as good, it's 10 out of 20, which is effectively a 5. Or here I can confuse it even a little bit more if I were to go the opposite direction and say, this is going to just be explosive trap, isn't it? Yep. Should just ended the turn there. Or I could say it's even worse, make it even more confusing. What this whole system is ridiculous, but it's an interesting thought in a preposterous way to do things. If you thought Assassin's Creed 1 was a 5, and you thought Assassin's Creed 2 was just as good as 1, then you have to give it a 10. So it's 50% of the way there. So it still doubles just by its age. And that would be even dumber of an idea. Because then effectively there's
I must safeguard
every sequel gets double the value and can't easily be compared in score at all. So leaving that side thought alone, I would say if you think Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 are the same, you give 1 a 5, you would give 2 a 5. So Assassin's Creed 3 comes out, which in this case would not actually be Assassin's Creed 3, but it would be Brotherhood, I believe. Was the third main title, and it even gets more confusing if you start saying, well, let's put the Game Boy games or the mobile ports of the Assassin's Creed. I don't know if Assassin's Creed had Game Boy games, but they had some mobile versions and side stories. So it gets even like sillier as we go on. Let's see. Plus 4 taunt or plus 4 attack.
for the wild. Feel nature's wrath.
This is an interesting character. I don't know what his ability really helps with. So you go to Assassin's Creed 4, the 4th game in the series, and well, I didn't explain 3. So 3 then would be 0 through 30. It's not that it doubles each time, it just gets another 10 points. So if you thought 1 and 2 were the same and you both set those as 5, but you thought that Assassin's Creed 3 was twice as good as maybe I should have done attack there. Maybe I should just destroy all minions and
Feel nature's wrath.
is this how you're gonna do it to me? Oh, I should have hit him in the face first. That was a mistake.
Time waits for no one.
So, if you think Assassin's Creed is the 3 is as good as 2, then you'd give it 5 again. So it seems almost at the front of it if we just stop there and don't talk about Assassin's Creed 4, 5, or 6, which would each get their own thing. So by the 6th, you would have between 0 and 60 to rate it, which would open up for some finer details because you would be comparing it to 5 previous games. But if we just stop with 3, so 3 would be a 5 out of 30. So this system, while completely ridiculous and doesn't really even work well to compare other games that would be released around the time, it doesn't really even make any sense at all. It does have a very demanding scale to it. It says that every single sequel has to be twice as good to maintain even a decent score, because 5 out of 30, if you run that back down, you're talking like a 1 or 2 out of 10. If you divide 5 into it, it's something like 1.2 out of 10, which would mean that the third game in the Assassin's Creed series, and I'm just using Assassin's Creed, it could be third game in any series if they were all exactly the same, would be ridiculously
Well played.
low rated.
It has to be snake.
Because most systems and most video game reviewers won't even give 5s. It starts at 7 and ends at 10. Look at that, I lost while I was talking. No real surprise there. This, I know, is the reason why I lose sometimes. So, when I asked for suggestions about if you're seeing a reason why I'm losing all the time, talking and not paying attention, I'm aware of those two. If that's the only reasons you see, sure, I guess continue to let me know that, but if you see anything else, that would be nice. Any suggestions are
Valera
truly
versus
appreciated.
Valera.
Watch.
So yeah, you could
I always do.
you could never really compare a game, say the same year Assassin's Creed 3 came out. If some other game came out and it was the first in its series, you'd be giving it such an incredible leadway. You'd be saying, well, it's an average game, so it gets a 5 out of 10.
The pleasure is mine.
Whereas, because this game is the third game and they didn't make it 6 times as good as
Feed the fish like
the game that was the first in its series, it has a 1.2 out of 10 effectively. Well, but then you would still muddle the system. The system only kind of works when you are intentionally trying to make it impossible to compare first of a series to a second of a series or a third of a series. And it still doesn't really even work that well if you're trying to compare a third of a series to a third of a series. But it sort of works. But it would be very demanding. It would cause, if everybody adopted this system and video game creators cared about the ratings at all, which they only care about the ratings in so much as that they can use it as an excuse to not pay out bonuses. They're just the scumbag management will use ratings as an excuse.
Here we go. Here we go.
To say the game didn't perform, but they don't care about ratings otherwise. If they did care about ratings, they'd just pay somebody to give them a 10 out of 10. It's not that hard. They don't care who it is. There's no real great authorities in the... Let's see. How do we want to do this?
Here we go.
Cha-ching!
Give me that coin, and then kill this guy. In the turn.
Magic detected.
So I guess that's all I really have to say about that particular system. It's very low demands on the new series and very high demands on the old series, and it's not like it's a super complicated weighted scale or anything. It's really just a different way of looking at things, having very, very high expectations for sequels, which might mean we see less sequels. And I have said before that don't ever try to make a planned trilogy type thing. Don't try to annualize your games at all. The ways we've gotten messed up and screwed over in video games, that for people who haven't planned to have sequels, are considerably way less painful than the way that we've been messed up by having planned trilogies and planned sequels. Games that really didn't plan to have sequels. We could say things like Half-Life 2. They planned to have a sequel, and I would almost argue that the planned trilogy on that was their problem. But let's say that they really didn't plan enough to do that. That might be how we get screwed over, and why we probably will never see a Half-Life 3 ever.
Trust the pirates.
Let's see.
Trust the pirates.
What else
code.
have we had?
Get back!
Really messed
Here
up.
we go.
Beyond Good and Evil really didn't plan for a sequel, and we would like to see a sequel. Some of these games that are making sequels like decades and decades later have sort of suffered by not having more of them. But almost always, if a game comes out and they really weren't thinking about having a sequel, and it's super popular, it's not hard to say, let's make another one. It really isn't that hard. So,
What you got there? Scurvy. Scurvy. Door.
Here we
I
go.
don't know. So next turn I could maybe get one coin. But to look the other direction, let's look at the games that have had planned trilogies, planned sequels to them. We've had the Assassin's Creed series, which has been up and down. There have been some really good ones, and then there's been some garbage ones. If I play one, I can't play the other.
The supreme archaeologist.
Here we go.
Job done.
Maybe I should have killed this guy. Now, if he died, he'd just get +2/+2. It's not even worth it.
Come close and listen.
If he doesn't kill this guy, and then I get really lucky, neither of which of those things happened. This.
Here we go.
Attack this. Attack this. That's 12.
Job done.
12 or 13 damage here.
Come close and listen.
I think I may lose. Should be no reason really why I wouldn't lose. They just need to do Dagger Master. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't intend to lose. I promise you that. Dr. Zoidberg. Instead of Zoidberg. To get back to the rating system stuff, I don't rate many of my games. Sometimes I don't rate any of my games, I guess would be the most truthful thing to say. Sometimes I will say at the end of some games I'll be like, oh, this feels like a 5, this feels like something like that. It's idle chat, though. I don't particularly, and it doesn't make any sense. If you've watched my series, which is what I want you to do, and what will really show you the information about this, because I won't even remember half of the things I say while I'm playing in the middle of the game. Well, so if I say this section's not fun at the very beginning of a game, I probably won't even remember that by the time it's over, unless it's a very consistent and thematic thing. So if you watch the series, you know what I feel about it, and you should have a complete and total understanding whether you want to play the game or not, or at least a good idea about what the sequel might have in store for year 2, because I am covering prequels to games that are soon to release sequels. I saw an interesting article because I was talking about this a couple episodes ago about how Hitman Absolution had a lot more characters, particularly in the Chinese Square, than what looked like in the demo for Hitman. And someone was talking, and they were talking about that, and they said they were running a frame rate thing in the beta, which maybe this is what the beta is all about, is to adjust and get the frame rate running consistently at 60. But in the 2 beta areas where there's a party on a boat and the military base, from what I saw of it looked like there was very small groups, maybe 100 or 200 people at most in the entire map, which is a much smaller map than what the Chinese market was in Hitman Absolution. And maybe they've programmed those characters to do a little bit more. That could be the case. But as far as I saw, it seemed like there was a lot fewer characters, and they really didn't seem like they were walking around or having any set paths. So it's very interesting to have another video game review site come up and say the same thing that I was kind of wondering about, is that if this new engine, which I don't know what the engine's called. I want to say Crytek is the name of the engine, but I could be totally wrong. If something they did in the engine is just having trouble running at 60 frames per second. It's also possible that there were tricks going on in Hitman Absolution we just didn't see, and it wasn't running at 60, but at points it was having trouble even staying at 30. It wouldn't surprise me if we started to see that there's a decrease in the ability of some programmers at some companies. Not some programmers. Well, of some programmers too, but that's a separate issue. For instance, Double Fine, I feel like there's been a decrease in the ability of the programmers at Double Fine because they haven't been consistently working on games enough or working with the newest technologies. But they are hiring new people, and so hopefully that turns around. They can learn from the new people how to do it the new ways versus the new people getting thrown in there and being told to do it the old ways that probably don't work as well anymore. But for things like Square Enix and Hitman, I wouldn't be surprised if what's going on is teams are getting bought out and then fired, and then the property of the Hitman is getting handed over to a new team of people that have never worked on a Hitman game before in their life. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that for all the AAA games, your Square Enix, your Ubisofts, your Electronic Arts, Konami, if Konami was ever going to make another game, type stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing that. Much like that, as far as like Dead Island and And Dead Island 2, well, Dead Island was made by Techland, and I think I could make a rough estimate to all the good parts of Dead Island, because there are some good parts in it were made by Techland and got transferred over to their own game, Dying Light. And now the new company, whoever the new company is going to be for Dead Island 2, are going to have trouble making that game even run as well as the previous one. And I know there was a new company that was working on it, but they already parted ways, so I'm talking about whoever the new company for Dead Island 2 is. That whole series has been mishandled horribly, which is a shame. But I mean, it's a quick fix. It's a real quick fix. You just play Dying Light, and Dying Light's DLC is out right now, and it looks pretty good. It's on my radar as something I want to play at some point. I would kind of have to wait till Dying Light 2 came out, I guess. Maybe. That would be a thought, I guess. Alright, so next turn I want to do this, and then this, and then it won't work. Darn. Because if I do this and this, it will be a 3-weapon for 3 mana. That would mean this is 1 for 1 mana, and I would only have 3 mana.
Reporting for duty.
Muster for battle, I believe, is going to be one of the ones that gets taken out. I just want to wait right now. If I manage not to kill this guy completely, that would be great. What else is there to talk about?
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
I don't know if there really is. We're about done with this recording session, so we'll just go slightly silent here and just talk about the game. If I can get a victory out of this, this would be great. This one, then this one,
and plunder.
this one.
Here we
5
go.
face.
Job done.
So I've got 10 here. If he kills this, that's great. If I do this and this, I'll do 12 damage. But I've really got no backup plan.
Let me think.
So unless he can't play any of these cards to effect, it's gonna be very shocking.
What you got?
Here we go.
There we go, we have him down to 10. If we can just get him down to 0. Again, this really feels like my deck is just weak. Just weak. I don't know what one card is the one card. I would bet it's the one of this card needs to be out of the deck. I'm kind of putting it off at this point just until the new expansion comes out, but yeah. There's gonna be so much work when the new expansion comes out. It would have been a nightmare if the expansion came out right when my internet was off. It would have been horrible for me. I would have probably lost hundreds of views A really dumb reason.
Do you have the artifact? Here we go.
If I keep the power, the damage going,
Job done.
and it just can do damage for damage to all the way to the 10th turn, I might be able to play Archfief for fam. But here's two cards that are probably weak in the deck.
Let the pain speak to me.
Something about how I'm playing though is just wrong. It's gotta be. There has to be something here that's I'm throwing too many cards out at the beginning and they're beating me with a consecration or a flame strike or something else. And I should just hold back one card. Because it happens so often. I need to just make that admission to myself. It happens so often that all my guys on the board get knocked out. Drawing just one card every turn is going to be really difficult to actually even get.
Reporting for duty.
To even do anything there, really.
Here we go.
So every turn here I'm just trying to do one more damage until I can play this guy. And if I get this guy and I can get to my 10th turn, and in the 10th turn I can do 10 random damage, 7 of those right now.
Behold the might of Stormwind!
6 probably. I'm gonna have to go straight to taking out face. Yeah, I don't see how I win. Yeah, there's nothing here wins.
I am Rafar, the supreme archaeologist.
Here we go.
Job's done.
So, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna call this recording session here because we have run into a bit of a losing streak again. And I wanted to be lazy today anyways. Just try and recoup from not having internet, which is a huge issue. And you try to explain not having internet to people who live most of their life without the internet, and it's impossible. They're just like, oh darn, you don't have the internet. I'm like, I have a 2 gig limit on my cell phone. I went through half of that limit in one day, just streaming YouTube videos. So, yeah, for me personally, the internet is a big deal. You have to have. Anyways, so I'm gonna get this off screen. That's gonna have us at 7,100 gold. No real change anywhere. We are just waiting for the things to get announced. Everything is still purchasable right now. So, I'm waiting for things to change. So that's going to be it for this recording session. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want a friend to follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.